Thank you so much. That's pretty cool to walk into a little Tom Petty. So thank you to all of you. Just want to talk to you about a couple things. It was mentioned in the introduction about the opportunity that we have in the United States of America and in many areas that have suffered for a long time. In eastern Ohio, northeastern Ohio, western Pennsylvania, western parts of New York, with the new ability to take out natural gas. We've been looking for a way to convert our economy over to a cleaner burning fuel, and wouldn't you know, we have it right under our feet. And so we need to do everything that we possibly can to make sure that we take this natural resource and we export it to the world and create jobs right here in the United States of America. There is no reason why we can't do this. And I've been working in a bipartisan way, and first let me just say how much I love Steve LaTourette. When I first got to Congress, Steve was a mentor of mine. His district was just to the north of mine. Was a fantastic member of Congress and a great, great friend. Now we're trying to work in a bipartisan way to make sure that we can take this natural gas and create work here in the United States. And we're already beginning to see the benefits in the manufacturing sector. And I will tell everybody in this room and anybody outside of this room who wants to listen, if we want a renaissance in the United States of America, we need manufacturing back in the United States of America. That's what's going to put you back to work. That's what's going to put your friends back to work. And by having low natural gas costs, by exporting this to the world, we are going to make sure that we can continue to have a renaissance in the United States of America. And you can look in our district, whether it's auto or steel, we are starting to see manufacturing come back because of lower natural gas costs. We are seeing insourcing of many manufacturers across the globe coming back into the United States. Because if you go to China, you're not only getting wages that are going up, you also got to pay the fuel costs to ship your product around the world. Now, enough about talking about being and building in America. Let's get the policies in place, the governmental policies in place, not the government takeover, but the policies in place that are going to allow that to happen. And that means exporting natural gas. That means having a manufacturing policy in the United States. And it means playing a little bit more firm with the Chinese so that we can drive investment back into the United States of America. And we have benefited from this. We have benefited from this in our area. We have a steel pipe manufacturer in Youngstown, Ohio, that has spent $1 billion building this new steel mill in Youngstown. Now, it has to do with the natural gas because it's the tubing that goes in to help pull it out. But it also has to do with the fact that President Obama slapped a tariff on the Chinese steel pipe that was being dumped in the United States. If we take on the Chinese, if we make them play fair, we get manufacturing jobs here in the United States of America. We're not here to demagogue the issue, we're here to play fair. If you want to be involved in the global economy, you got to play by the same rules as everybody else. And I want to thank the president because that steel company told us there's a couple things we needed to do. But for us to invest $1 billion, we need those tariffs on the Chinese steel tubing that's being dumped. When you have a manufacturing facility in the United States, in a place like Youngstown, Ohio, that's final product, and the cost of the final product is the same as the raw material, or the final Chinese product is the same as the raw material cost of the United States company, there's a problem. There's a problem. And the same goes for infrastructure, reinvesting back in the United States. I'm going to finish up here in 1 minute, but I want to say this. We are at a point in our country's history where we have to rebuild our country. We have made investments 50 and 60 years ago. Those investments are older now. Whether you're talking about power lines, whether you're talking about sewer lines, water lines, roads, bridges, the kind of things that need to get done every so often. And we need to make sure, all of us, union, non-union, whatever we are, that we make a pledge, not a campaign, not a one-off campaign, this 2 years, next 2 years, this campaign, that campaign, that we begin a movement. Campaigns are just this year, next year, the campaigns come and go. I am talking about a movement in the United States of America where we're all in agreement that we reinvest back in our country. We have high unemployment in the trades right now. Higher than normal, lower than where it was, but higher than normal. We are borrowing money in the United States at like 1%. Now, I'm worried about deficits too, and we got to do what we got to do to take care of them. But we also got to rebuild our country. I'm saying if we're borrowing money at 1% and we've got high unemployment and these projects need to get done anyway, let's reinvest back in our country. Let's rebuild the United States of America. Let's put you and your families back to work. That's what this is all about. And we will raise revenue, we will drive up wages, we will make sure we get more money in the coffers. And the money will go to union workers who are making a good wage, and will go out and spend that money in the community. That's how you rebuild your economy. And the businesses that are going to do the next generation of this or the next generation of that are going to benefit from that infrastructure that is in place. That, my friends, is a strategy for rebuilding our country. And I will say again, this is not a campaign. This is not a target audience. These are people, lives, human beings that you represent. And it's our obligation as leaders, whether it's in the union movement or in Congress or in politics, to connect to people and make sure that they understand that. People trust you. You are a leader. You are elected by your fellow men and women in the trades. We need you to step up and help us build this movement, because China and India are putting money left over right. China and India are putting 7 or 8 or 9% of their GDP in the infrastructure. We're lucky if we put 2% in the United States. You can't get something for nothing, and you can't cut your way to a strong economy. This country was built by policies that invested into our people. It's not about policies, it's about people. You educate your people, you invest in your people, you pay your people a good wage, you give them a good pension, a good retirement, good health care benefits, and you build the country. That's what this is all about. That's what the union movement was all about. That's what my grandfather stood for when he was a steel worker, and my uncles in the building trades that were plumbers and pipe fitters and all kinds of members within the building trades. They got it. If we look out for each other, if we care about each other. I played a lot of sports. You guys probably played a lot of sports. You ever walk on a football field with 11 people and say, well, we don't need these 3? I was a quarterback. That became very dangerous policy if I accepted that. That's why you got to buy your linemen lots of beers. Very helpful. This country was built by us caring about each other. And yes, I'm going to get up in a room full of building tradesmen, and I'm going to say that. You know why? Because that's what I learned throughout my life playing sports. You better hang together, or you're going to hang separately. And the union movement was built. I'm not saying we all got to like each other, because I know some of you. But we all have to push policies that bring us together as Americans. I'm tired of the fear. I'm tired of the division. We go through this all the time. Who's union, who's non-union? Who's black, who's white, who's gay, who's straight, who's this, who's that, who's a red state, who's a blue state? Done. If we want to move forward as a country, we got to have all 11 people on the team. We got to have all 5 people on the court. We got all 313 million of us. Not 99.1 or 53.47. All of us coming together. And you are all in a unique position, because you get it. You get what it takes to build a movement. You get what it takes to have economic development. You get what it takes to have a strong country. And I will tell you and end with what Bobby Kennedy used to say at the end of all his speeches in that brief presidential campaign. And this applies to building movements. I do not promise you ease. I do not promise you comfort. But I do promise you these: weariness, hardship, and sacrifice. And with these, I promise you victory. Thank you very much.